Hi, I'm Marilyn Thorpe. I'm a psychiatrist. When I got to University of Victoria, our waiting list to see a psychiatrist was 46 days long on average and up to 220 days. Everyone at the clinic was very unhappy with the psychiatric service and especially these long waits. I watched a TED Talk by Atul Gawande. In that talk, he talked about how nowadays we have so many different specialists and physicians and tests and different kinds of therapies. And instead of making a sick patient go from one to the other, what we should be doing in medicine is all coming together to meet with the patient and the family doctor and come up with a plan. We started to wonder whether we could have our own pit crew appointments where we came together like a pit crew with a patient. We began to try the psychiatrist going to the office to see the patient with the family doctor and discuss a difficulty and try and make suggestions right together rather than having people wait. This has proven really successful. And our waits are down to 11 days and have stayed there for 3 years now. So we're going to show you in this video how a PIT appointment goes, and we have slides and other things on the site that will show you important parts of using the PIT idea in your own clinic.
Hello.
Hi, Una, how are you?
Hi, Marilyn. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good. So did you have a chance to read my PIT referral form?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Helen is a 28-year-old female student requesting some help for her inability to focus and stay on task with things. I'm pretty sure she has ADHD. I've looked at old report cards. My problem, though, is that I don't know if it's safe to medicate her because she has mood swings. And I'm worried that I might be missing an element of bipolarity.
For example?
She decided to come to UVic on a whim. She was all set up to go to another university and then fell in love with someone, and 3 years ago drove across the country and came here, and then broke up with the person. Most recently, she had an episode where she was really feeling irritable and despondent and actually climbed to the top of a building on campus and threatened to jump and called her friends in distress. It's a red flag for me.
Yes. Have you seen any signs of mania?
No, I mean, she's disorganized sometimes and she can be late. She doesn't present in clinic like that. No grandiose ideas or anything.
Okay. And you're pretty sure about the ADHD?
I did do the Canadian ADHD Alliance, the CADRA paperwork, stepwise, multiple visits. She didn't see any problem with things until she got into university and was trying to apply herself and then realized that she couldn't focus long enough, and so we did some digging.
And you said she's in last year of school, right?
Going into her last year, so she's got longer papers that she has to write now. She's 28, she wants to get on with life, and she's just frustrated because she feels that her inability to get these things done is holding her back.
You think she has attention deficit disorder? You're wondering about medicating her, but you're worried about these mood swings ruling out bipolar. Okay, let's see her and see what we've got.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, this is Dr. Marilyn Thorpe.
Hi,
nice to meet you.
So Helen, I explained to Dr. Thorpe some of the things we'd gone over before about how we've come to an understanding that you have ADHD and that there's some medications for that, but they can have risks, especially related to mood stability sometimes, and that we wanted to just make sure that we have a good handle on what's happening with your mood. Okay?
So the reason you've been seeing Dr. Hayes is about your tension most recently?
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
I feel like I've always had trouble, like, sitting down and focusing. I feel like I just get distracted and kind of something grabs my attention and then I'm just off doing something else all of a sudden, and I have 1,000 unfinished projects and I can do something. It's usually like right at the last minute, right before a deadline. I can get like 2 solid hours in, but never really more than that. When I do get to class, I have a hard time just even leaving the house because I get so pulled in different directions. I can't find my keys, or I forget I had to send an email or something, and then I'm usually late. And then if I do end up getting in class, I'm just looking at my computer and the prof will say something and then I just start on like a rabbit hole of the internet. And so I've sat through class and haven't taken anything in, basically. So then I try not to go to class and focus on my own and study, but it doesn't work either.
And that's always been a problem.
Yeah, pretty much forever, as long as I can remember. It just seems to be more challenging for me now just because everything's gotten longer and longer. I used to be able to write a paper in the 2 hours, but now that it's more of a thesis and there's chapter, I can't focus for long enough.
Can you focus on other things like a movie?
Yeah, no one likes to watch movies with me because I'm just going, forget I had to water the plants or I walk across the room. I'm very distracting for them, I guess.
So this concentrating, moving around has always been an issue, but it's more of an issue now.
Yeah.
Dr. Hayes was telling me you have some mood swings.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm bipolar because I'm really, really high and then all of a sudden I'm really, really low. Like if I get a good mark or someone says something really nice, then I just feel like I'm on top of the world and everything's great. And then all of a sudden it's just someone will look at me the wrong way and then I kind of crash and I feel terrible about myself. And
So when you feel really good, how long does that last?
only ever like an hour or two maybe.
So it never lasts a whole day, 2 days.
No, I wish.
Does it change your sleep?
Nope, my sleep's pretty regular.
What about your appetite?
No, I don't think so.
When you feel good, do you get great ideas or want to talk a lot or tell people these wonderful ideas and speed right up like Robin Williams?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And then you say mood swing and then you feel badly. Tell me about those moods when you feel down.
Well, I've done some things that I'm kind of ashamed of. Like the worst time was I ended up climbing on top of a building and I thought I was going to jump and I called one of my friends and I didn't end up doing it, which I'm thankful for. But I felt terrible for making my friends go through that too afterwards.
So how long does the feeling down last?
Only really until I can kind of be near someone else. Like if I can call a friend to come over and we go for a walk down the ocean or...
You feel better when you're with other people.
Yeah.
Is being by yourself difficult?
I don't like being by myself. It's, I usually just end up feeling bad about myself. So I feel like if I'm with other people, I'm more distracted.
And when you're with your friends, does that feel safe?
It's kind of inconsistent. I feel like I feel really good sometimes, but I'm also trying to gauge how they're responding to me so that they're happy with what I'm doing so that I make them happy, I guess. I don't know.
And you get upset with your friends sometimes?
Yeah, I've had some really like bad explosions with some previous friends. It's kind of like they run really hot and then they crash and burn almost. It's like I meet someone, I really like them, we get along really well, we become really like best friends, or I'm really close with my boyfriend for a time, and then all of a sudden it kind of like we get in a really big argument and then I just don't talk to them anymore, or yeah.
So what's the longest you've kept a boyfriend?
The longest one is the guy that I'm dating now. It's been like about 4 months.
And how long do you know someone before you get really close to them?
Sometimes it can happen really right away. Like I feel like I'm really drawn in and we get really close and really connected, and then all of a sudden something happens and then it just kind of crashes and burns.
Tell me about some of the more impulsive things you've done.
I've shoplifted, and I was dating a guy for like a week, and then I decided to come to UVic instead of going to Carleton where I was supposed to go.
Have you ever tried to hurt yourself?
Yes. When I was in high school, I took a bunch of medication and tried to kill myself. And then when I woke up, my mom she made me feel terrible about it, and I was even more ashamed that I'd done it, and it was bad.
Tell me about when you were in high school. Were there times in high school where you were really down, like the time you took the overdose?
Yeah, before that, it felt like there was a couple months. I didn't really enjoy anything that I used to do. I even had a hard time like taking care of myself, like washing my hair and doing all that sort of stuff. And I'd cry like at the drop of a hat for no reason.
And that lasted about 2 months?
Yeah, about 2 months, maybe 3. And actually, when you mentioned sleep, that did affect my sleep. I was waking up in the middle of the night at that point in time, and I'd cry at that point in time sometimes.
How were things at home in your family when you were little? How did people interact?
My mom was always erratic. She is very up and down. I've always found it's like I try to do things to please her, but nothing seems to be good enough or tall enough or far enough. It's just I just never seemed to please her, I guess. And she was always kind of up and down herself. She would be really happy and exercising and cleaning, and then all of a sudden she'd be really mad. So it was like every time I came home from school, I wasn't really sure what mom I was coming home to, I guess. It's just, my mom started having an affair, and then she ended up telling me about it, and I didn't know what to do about the information, or I just felt terrible about everything. So I felt bad for my dad, and it was just so distressful. I was like, I don't know what to do with this information. I felt super uncomfortable about it, and then I just kind of stopped engaging with a lot of things. And
So that time you were really depressed.
yeah.
Since then, have there been long periods like that where you're that depressed?
No, it seems more angsty now and less hollow and empty, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it.
And Dr. Hayes said that your brother had a suicide attempt.
Yeah, when all that stuff was going on with our family, he didn't take it very well either, and he ended up attempting suicide, and he was hospitalized after that.
So he has not had fluctuating moods or episodes where he's hospitalized because he's so...
No, that was like the only time, really. Yeah.
Okay. From what Dr. Hayes is telling me in your testing, you for sure have attention deficit disorder. I know from the referral, the CADRA scores, all the scoring you've done works out that way. I think medication for that would help. Have you done our attention deficit workshops to...
No, I've heard about them and I've been meaning to go, but it's just that it's the same thing that happens with me in class. I have the best intention of going, and then I just can't get out the door. I can't find my keys, or I forget something, I'm trying to get out the door and I can't. And then I'm late and I don't want to show up late, so.
Okay, so maybe if you guys get some medication and you can actually start thinking productively, then you could benefit from what you learn at those groups. It would help you move things along. From what you're saying, I don't think you have a bipolar disorder, because in a bipolar disorder, you would have a long, consistent period of being really up, feeling good, raring to go. And then you'd have long periods of steadily feeling really badly, like you did when you were in high school.
Right.
And then it would come back again. What you're describing mostly is this fast fluctuations. Yeah. And it sounds to me like it's quite triggered by other people or a good mark or someone looking. So those kinds of difficulties with mood, roller coaster mood, are often ways we've learned or not learned how to keep ourselves emotionally regulated, because your mom couldn't teach you, she doesn't know herself. And things are in a turmoil. That makes it harder to have relationships, harder to feel safe. Then you end up doing things like screaming at people or calling them from it. So that requires a different set of treatments and learning, and we do have the Managing Emotions program, but I think you'd be way smarter to start with your attention deficit so that you can get your thesis done, and then you may want to look at the Managing Emotions program moving forward. Sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Good luck.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Thorpe.
That they'd help me concentrate,
Yeah.
but that there might be some side effects
Right.
we didn't want to happen. I can't really remember.
Right. Okay. Great. So the medication class that helps with attention and concentration ability is a stimulant medication. Some people think that's funny because they think, oh, a stimulant might make you more hyper. But actually what it's doing is it's speeding up the messages in the brain so that your thoughts can therefore, so that you can get to that part of the brain that can put a brake on things when you're feeling impulsive or when your attention is wandering off. You can put a brake on and say, no, time to focus down on this.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the hope, is that you have more ability to focus. And what I'd like to do is give you a medication that lasts for a whole day at a time, because you don't just need focus for the time that you're focusing on your writing, also when you're driving, when you're trying to get other things done, and maybe watching a movie, you know, those kinds of things. So in terms of the side effects, because it is a stimulant, if you feel like your mood is getting more impulsive, the opposite of what we'd want, or if you're feeling more irritable or anything like that, the good news is the medication only lasts for a day. So just don't take your next dose.
Okay.
I'd like you to call in and check in with that.
Okay.
Also, we've done a physical exam and made sure that your blood pressure's okay and your heart rate's okay. But if you're feeling like your heart is doing funny things for you or anything like that, then I should check in with you.
Okay.
What I'd like to do is give you this prescription for 2 weeks worth of medication at sort of a lower dose, and go from there.
Okay.
You should notice a difference within the first couple of doses.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Good.
Great.
So if you have run into any troubles, please stop the medication
Okay.
and call us right away.
Okay.
And otherwise, I'd like to see you in about 2 weeks. So if you could book an appointment on the way out, that'd be great.
Okay, sounds
All right.
That was an example of a typical PIT assessment. It shows you the collaborative work between the psychiatrist, the family doctor, and the patient, where now the patient and family doctor can work together. For more information, you can visit our site, pitproject.ca. You can see ways to implement it, referrals. We've tried to put everything there that we think you might need to begin it in your own clinic so that you can see your patients without waiting so many days to see a psychiatrist. Thanks very much.